Podcast hosting provided by Transistor. If you want to host your own show, head over to transistor.fm and start a 14-day free trial.
Hello and welcome to Regen, the e-racing podcast. I'm joined this week by Chris Soulsby, and what an absolute belter of a weekend we have to talk about.
Yeah, it's nice to be back on, and oh my god, what a season finale. Season 5 is over, Formula E is over for now, and I don't even know where to begin on this one, in all honesty.
It was incredible, and it definitely lived up to all the hype. Now, what we're going to do with this is, for each race this weekend, we're going to do an episode. So we have 2 episodes for you, because there is so much to unpack and so much to talk about, especially in the first race, which we will get into. But before we do, Media of the Week. I'm not sure if you've got a Media of the Week, Chris?
I do have a form of Media of the Week.
Okay, well, we'll start with mine. The Lamer Gamers podcast. This is quite a cool podcast, actually. So these are both fully grown guys, fully grown adults, greying hair, failing backs that are actively trying to balance gaming life with married life, work life, personal life, and more, while retaining their sanity. So their goal is to put a 1-hour show out twice a month, or at least, at least once. But you can sort of sneak in on your lunch break, on the go, and that'll hopefully keep you entertained enough. Really cool podcast, very interesting. One of them's just bought an Xbox One X, and he seems to love it to bits if he can keep his wife off it to actually get to play it. So, yeah.
I think I've heard of that podcast, actually.
What, really?
I think so, yeah. I think I've seen it on Twitter or heard of it, or I might be lying, of course, but I'm sure I've seen something like that. It might be called the Lamest Gamers podcast.
Well, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I might give that a listen, actually, because it sounds quite fun.
It deserves it because, I mean, it's hard enough trying to do this podcast with actually watching the races, and then you've got Formula 1, and then you've got Super Formula, and then I was checking out the World Touring Cars, and the
racing this weekend was
I just can't keep up with it all. And I want to, but it's just too much of it.
It's mad. Honestly, there's so much quality racing on at the moment. Yeah, even the Formula 1 was good this weekend. I was surprised. And there's so much quality racing on at the moment. It's impossible to keep up with it all, especially the weekend just gone with Formula E. Oh.
Yeah, just a side note, my favourite touring car driver, Esteban Guerrieri. Have you heard of him before?
Esteban Guerrieri. No, but it's a good name.
It is a good name, and I do like the guys with the good names. But he did a test with China Racing back in the day.
Oh, really?
Because I looked into him, yeah.
Ah, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Full of information. But do you have a Media of the Week?
Okay, so I've got... Oh, yeah. It's a hard call, my Media of the Week. So over the past week or so, since the last time we recorded, I've found a number of news highlights in the UK, which I found really, really entertaining. You might have seen me tweeting about this on Twitter, but my Media of the Week this week is 2 news articles from the UK, which I think are absolutely hilarious. It's not really Media of the Week as such, but I'm just going to mention it anyway. So earlier this month, in Cambridgeshire, in Cambridge, the university town, we had a 9-foot-long python escape through a window in a home, and it was at large for 6 days.
That is terrifying.
I think that's quite funny.
We don't have snakes in New Zealand, so that's absolutely terrifying.
We don't have pythons in the UK. Often that's only when they escape. And there was this 9-foot-long python running the streets of Cambridge, and basically It was an article on the BBC that I read, and it was like, oh, this snake isn't poisonous. However, it does suffocate its prey by wrapping itself around them. And, that's lighthearted, especially in, the south of the country.
Yeah, death is death.
Yeah, death is death. But what's better than the reticulated python was the news that, this was quite good, there was the news that in the Rolls-Royce factory in Bognor Regis, an employee found a turtle in the car park.
What?
A turtle.
Slow news week?
Yeah, exactly. There was a turtle in a car park at the Rolls-Royce manufacturing plant in Bognor Regis. They had no idea what to do with it, so they put it in the sink. So yeah, that's my media of the week. There'll be more media of the week for race 2.
No, there won't. I'm not doing media of the week. That's enough. We're gonna get straight into the news. Daniel Abt confirmed at Audi for next season. This one coming just before the doubleheader in New York. Now the lineup, I think it's good to have the continuity. I think it's good. Daniel Abt's been unlucky. He's been constantly scoring. He's been consistent, and I think Audi needed to keep him. I know there was a lot of news about him possibly leaving or doing something else, but it's definitely confirmed now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Abt's been signed by Audi for season 6 now, and that's both him and Grassi locked in for another year. And I think that's good for the team, really, because it just keeps that consistency. So Abt and Grassi have been teammates since Formula E's first ever race. And, they're the only team in Formula E who have maintained the exact same driver lineup since the start. And, I think that's really good, in all honesty. Abt, there was a lot of talk that he might have found himself out of a drive at the end of the season, but he was consistent. And, yeah, I think it's deserved. It's deserved. I would like to see Nico Muller put in somewhere, though.
Well, that doesn't mean he can't be slotted in somewhere else.
Yeah, precisely. I hope he gets a drive because he was the favourite to replace Abt. And he does deserve a seat somewhere, so we'll see. We'll see about that. But yeah, very good signing again from Audi. Well done, Abt.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be interesting to see that wasn't deliberate, but I'll claim it anyway. The shake-up of drivers this silly season will be quite interesting to see who moves.
Yeah, I think the silly season this season, when it all hinges on Andre Lotterer, because there's a chance that he might be going to Porsche. That's excited to be confirmed. Excited to be confirmed? But it's exciting, but it's expected to be confirmed in a couple of weeks. But if Lotterer did go to Porsche, it would leave one of the seats at the most competitive team of the grid open. So that's a rush right there.
I think Mark Preston's phone will be red hot.
Oh yeah, it will be.
It's such a coveted seat for sure, and we'll get into it, and you listener will soon realise why. Qualifying: Buemi, Verline, Lynn, Abt, Sims, and Bird coming into Super Pole. That is the way it ended. Now, Buemi taking pole, cracking lap over 4/10 quicker than Verline. Where did that come from?
It's just Sebastian Buemi, isn't it? The guy is a qualifying machine, and he was 4/10 faster than Verline. 4/10 faster. That's a massive margin. And yeah, we know that the Nissan car is quite fast in qualifying, but 4/10, that's a lot of time right there.
It really is. Considering where was Roland, he was a wee way down.
Well, yeah, precisely. Roland failed to get into Super Pole.
So we've got Verline as well. He's a good qualifier, we know that. But Lynn coming into third. That's pretty mighty, for someone who's just come back.
That's the thing. That's really put Alex Lynn in the shop window, hasn't it? He came in mid-season in Rome to replace Nelson Piquet Jr. Thank God.
I don't know whether to edit that out or not, but anyway.
Yeah, it was a good edit to go, didn't he? And he's been honoured, hasn't he? He's been really impressive this season, and he doesn't have a deal for next season as of yet. And then in qualifying, he turns around from nowhere in Group 4 and sticks it on third on the grid. I don't know if you can remember back to Season 3, but New York is where Lynn made his Formula E debut, and he actually got pole position in his first ever race, so he clearly loves the track.
You took the words right out of my mouth, actually. That was my next thing to say.
Yeah, you really returned to a happy place this weekend, I think, and got the sweet spot. It was good, really good for him.
Definitely. Sim's up there as well. Nice to see him after his sort of hard year. It's been a baptism of fire for him, so it's good that he can end on a high. Now, this race, where do we start, Chris? I guess we'll start a great start from Lynn off the line, who gets second behind Buemi. Now, I think Verline was on the dirty side of the track, and that was pretty clear in both races that you did not want to be starting on the right.
Yeah, exactly. So we had for New York, we had a seriously rubbing inside of the track, and a piece of the track that was heavily unused, was very dusty, and this caused like a performance imbalance on the race start. So those on the left-hand side of the circuit, if you're looking down the grid, or right-hand side, I believe, if you're looking down the turn 1, secured better starts, and Lynn benefited from that immediately, didn't he?
Oh, it was a great start.
And he immediately he shot up to second, and really made his intentions clear. And he was like, "I'm in this race to win it. Don't know about anyone else, but he was making moves from the outset, wasn't he?" And it was so nice to see. It was so nice to see because he's had a few unlucky races, but back towards the top.
Yeah, and Alexander Sims puts the move on Verline, who then also gets mugged by Daniel Abt. I didn't think that Verline and D'Ambrosio had much speed on this track. It was sort of they kept just going backwards, getting mugged and couldn't retaliate.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Mahindra were nowhere this weekend. And if you look at Mahindra, they were one of the best teams at the start of the season. D'Ambrosio was a championship challenger. It's not the first time we've seen Mahindra struggle towards the tail end. And I think, if anything, it goes to show that Mahindra simply can't maintain consistency over an entire season. They're always strong in the first half. When it comes to the second half of the season, they're absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, that's right. It's hard to consider them title challengers when they do get to the top, just for that fact. And you've got to think back to, it's not just this season. It's look at Rosenqvist the last couple of seasons. Yeah. He has been really, really well in front and looking like a title contender, and it falls to bits.
In season 4, Rosenqvist was probably the man to beat at the start of the season, and they completely flushed their title chances away. As soon as the European leg hits, that's it for Mahindra. Really can't really consider them as serious challengers, unfortunately.
Okay, also the incident with Lotterer the wrong way causing the reigning champion damage from the pile-up. Jean-Eric Verne. Now, it looked like both dragons came together, and either Lopez or Gunther spun from contact. Couldn't really make out which one, and damage to both the cheaters. There was a big pile-up, left rear puncture for Verne, and also nose damage. And Lotterer, it was surprising that he was still moving, to be honest, because his car looked knackered. It looked like it was absolutely done.
Formula E did disappoint. It's final weekend, and we've seen some big crashes this season and pile-ups. And in race 1 there were a fair few pile-ups, wasn't there? This was one of them.
Yep, we're going to talk about another one very shortly, but yep.
Yeah, it's very nice. But the crash in turn 7, I think it was on the first lap of the race, and I think it was Sam Bird who hit Lopez, and that spun him. And then there was just an immediate traffic jam. But then Vern,
right.
Vern went into the back of Gary Paffett, and I think it might have been Mitch Evans. I'm not sure though. And then Lodra went steamrolling into the back of Vern, and then that left both DS Cheetah cars with massive amounts of damage. They obviously had a pit. I think Vern had a puncture as well, possibly.
Yes, and did Sam Bird have a penalty because of that?
Yes, and that's why Sam Bird got a 10-second time penalty.
Right.
But yeah, that put the two DS Cheetah cars straight at the back of the field, and all of a sudden, the championship was wide open once more after it seemed to be over going into the race. But unpredictability.
I really enjoyed Jack Nicholls with his comment of the championship is falling to bits around them just as it did 12 months ago. And it was looking pretty grim, to be honest, especially with neither to cheaters looking like they'd score any points.
Precisely, yeah. Vern went from having such a strong position to, I mean, the pressure was certainly on for race 2, wasn't it?
It was.
And yeah, it was. That's a very good quote, actually, to summarise this race.
I've got to say, the commentary was just perfect. The commentary was really on point. And, I mean, Bob Varsha doesn't talk a lot, but when he does, it's always really interesting and it's on point.
Yeah, the three of them in the commentary box they're really, really good. They're really, really good. I can't remember which session it was on the weekend, but Bob Varsha was trying to... it might have been qualifying, actually, I'm not sure. But Bob Varsha was trying to talk about the population of New York and Brooklyn. And every time he tried to give this really interesting fact, which I can't remember, sadly, he was interrupted by team radio. And the comedic value was hilarious, in all honesty. It was so funny.
Yeah, I definitely want that to continue. Now, 20 minutes to go, I really felt for Alex Lynn. Such a great drive. He just, what was it, an MCU problem? Something to do with the pressures.
Yeah, his car just died, basically, with 20 minutes to go when he was in second as well. And a heartbreak for him, yeah. It's ground to a halt.
You've got to feel like he'll be retained by Jaguar after that sort of showing and the progress.
Surely they have to keep him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say I really hope Jaguar maintains the same driver lineup from the end of this season, because Mitch Evans and Alex Lynn have been solid, been really solid over the past few races.
And Jaguar, I didn't expect it, but they just kept growing into the season. And I mean, if Mitch Evans was to leave Lotterer, could we see Evans and Vern in the same team?
That's the thing. I think Evans will stay at Jaguar, but if it was announced that Lotterer was leaving DS Cheetah, if I was Mark Preston and the team, I would be straight on the phone to Mitch Evans, because Mitch Evans has grown so much in Formula E, and he really, really hit that sweet spot this season, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, probably one of the best performers of the season, actually. Because I mean, the Jaguar wasn't fantastic in the opening stages. In every race, we had James Barkley saying, "We know we have a good car, we just have to get qualifying right." And then it really leaves, when you're struggling that much, when PK can't finish a race, there's questions like, is this car actually good? And then Mitch Evans, after the slight mid-season break we had, came back stronger than ever. Wins in Rome, podium in Bern. Like, who would have expected that Mitch Evans would have been a title contender in the final weekend of the season? Looking back in Adria.
No way. Not a chance.
No way. I would never have thought that. Really, really nice performance from Jaguar.
Mortara put in the wall and Roland had nowhere to go. So Roland, innocent bystander, and that was massive. Roland was doing well, keeping himself clean and having a good race, just sort of doing his own thing. So that was a real shame as well for Oliver.
It was a shame, wasn't it? He just got pasted by Eduardo Mortara from the exit of turn 10. Massive amounts of damage, and he didn't finish inside the top 10. I don't believe. No.
No. We come now to the main talking point, Vern and Massa incident. Felipe did or did he not leave him enough room on the exit? And it was the chicane exit, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in the turn. Vern tried to overtake into turn 1. They banged wheels slightly, and then Vern just got pushed into the wall in turn 2. I think Massa turned in on him, in all honesty. Yeah, I think for me, it would have been a slam dunk penalty for Massa, but he actually managed to escape without punishment, which I was surprised at that. But
I was thinking Massa's back at the grid for next race.
And I think it was a slam dunk. I think he did put Vern on the wall. And then, afterwards, Massa was quite verbal about the accident. Called Vern's move kamikaze. Declared that he'd ruined Venturi's race and ruined his own championship. Felipe. I think it was Massa's fault, though.
Yeah, I'm not under any illusion that Felipe wasn't, Do you think he knew what he was doing?
Yeah. I think it was Felipe Massa knew what he was doing there. He saw P8, he wanted P8, so he put Vern on the wall in my eyes. As simple as, in all honesty.
Yeah, I think Vern probably didn't need to push the boat out and try and get past Massa though. So
yeah, that's true.
I guess if you're picking up a couple of points,
yeah, that's fair.
It's Vern only needed to score some points, and anyway, the result. So Sebastian Buemi makes it the 9th winner. So Nissan finally get a win. Mitch Evans second. Antonio Felix da Costa, podium for him. Alexander Sims in 4th. De Grassi in 5th. Not quite good enough. I think De Grassi, apt. Both of them needed a few more points. Verline, Bird, D'Ambrosio and Turvey managing to haul that car into the top 10. Just under the radar drive that it had no reason to even get there. I mean, you've got... And that's sort of telling you what sort of crazy race that was.
Yeah, the fact that Neo managed to get a point from that race in New York, it says so much about the nature of it, because, the New York car is nowhere. It has been nowhere throughout Season 5. I think it was Turvey's first point since Sanya, I want to say.
Yeah, it was pretty early on in the piece that he scored a point.
Yeah, it was a fantastic little drive from Turvey, but also, actually, a little shout out to Tom Dillon, because Tom qualified 12th place for race 1, and that's a really handy qualifying position right there. That's really, really good going. Yeah.
Hey, Tom Dillman's a good driver.
He is. He's a very good driver. It's just a shame that Neo car has been awful. Yeah, in both Turvey and Dillman are good drivers. And they deserve so much more than that thing.
Yep. No, I still stand by the 4th best drivers on the grid. Stand by it.
I would agree. The two of them are really good. And they work well together. They've got a very similar mindset and approach to racing, which is really nice to see. But yeah, I hope they'll get kept in for Season 6.
I very much hope so.
I don't think the team has a reason to sack either of them, in all honesty, after delivering them with a car like that. So
no, it's not the driver's fault in this case.
No, absolutely not.
Now the round 12, the standings. Jean-Eric Verne 130, Lucas de Grassi 108, Mitch Evans 105, Sebastian Buemi 104, 97 for Da Costa, Lotterer 86, Apt 84, Frains 81, Sam Bird 73, D'Ambrosio 67, and Oliver Rowland in 11th, he's 63. The team's championship, this is getting a bit close.
Mm-hmm.
DS Techeetah 216, 192 for Audi. Nissan 167, 154 for Envision. BMW on 133. Mahindra 125, Panasonic Jaguar 116. 88 for Venturi, HWA 39. 23 for Geox Dragon and Neo 7. Yep. 7 whole points. Driver of the day. Chris, who was your driver of the day?
There can only be one for me, and that's Mitch Evans. Mitch Evans was fantastic in race 1.
I agree. I've got to give this to Evans. And he forced his way from 13th to 2nd to keep the title fight alive. And also Buemi. Got to shout him out.
Yeah, Buemi did a really, really good job. Yeah, I mean, it was a tasty win. It was his first win in 2 years, believe it or not.
I can't believe that, but yes, it does happen to be true.
Yeah, it was Buemi's first race win since the second half of the doubleheader Berlin E-Prix in 2017, which was nuts. It's completely crazy when you think about that, because you forget that the Renault car last year was so bad. It's crazy. But the thing is, with Verne finishing outside the points, the championship was game on. It was instantly game on from that point. 4-way title fight going at the final race of the season. De Grassi 22 points in drift of Verne, Evans 25 behind, and Buemi 26, with 29 points still on offer. So,
yeah, all to play for someone to upset the apple cart. Now, Buemi had to get pole to be able to win the championship. Evans needed a win and nothing short of that.
mm-hmm.
But, Jev couldn't be scoring any points. And De Grassi, I think Jev needed 6th or 5th.
Yeah, I think De Grassi had to win, and then Verne would have had to finish I can't do maths. 8th or below or something. I'm not sure.
Yes. So, I mean, if there was pole and the fastest lap in there, then anything could have happened.
Yeah, precisely. There's so many different scenarios for the title.
But it was still alive, and that's what we wanted going into the final race of the season.
One final hurrah.
One final hurrah. And so with that, thank you for listening. We are going to now do another podcast and release it in a day or so after this one. So stick around and watch that feed.
Yeah, we'll catch you in race 2.
This has been Regen, the e-racing podcast. I've been Dino.
And I've been Chris.
Talk to you again shortly.